Shalom. Call all y'all about Shem Shah. Shalom to the left. I just got in not too long ago. Happened to come in and look to this. Just clicked on my actual Twitter account. And I scrolled down and I seen what was trending. They had a bunch of other little poly stuff on the side. But one thing that stood out to me the most was this World War III scenario, which is gonna happen. Even though you look at the news and they have like the talks, they go into this on the subscriptions. And I'll post some precepts. Now you had recently, I want to say it was like yesterday, it was in a different time zone. It says UN Security Council emergency meeting. You don't never really see nothing like this unless there's some serious shit about to take place. Now, you have people making jokes about it, taking it lightly, thinking it's a game. Well, if you do your research, these certain areas on this earth, primarily Russia, they actually have bunkers for their civilians to go in whenever the scenario takes place. The U.S. don't have that, not for civilians. They had that for those CEOs, the so-called elite bankers, those who pull the strings, those different politicians, those who have those passes to get into anybody else outside of that. They just out there. And scrolling down some more, you see this being talked about. Once again, people making it as a joke. That's why the Most High say you should laugh at your calamity, because when something like this actually take place, it ain't gonna be no hee ha ha. It's gonna be more so, God help me, why is this going on? So we'll go to a few precepts, and I'll end this video if I ain't want to stretch this out too much. Just want to pull a few precepts that came to mind. That's the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2. Now, it seems like it's taking a minute, but it's really not. Now, it says, for book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, and verse 3, it says, for the vision is there for a appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. And that vision is this vision right here. Give me 1 minute, let my browser load up a little bit. And this only do this when I'm looking up certain topics, so just bear with me. Let me go ahead and pull this up. It's the book of Revelation, chapter 11, scroll down. Chapter 11, verse 14, it says, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. And that woe is talking about, it's the third world's war. You have the first woe, you have the second woe. This third woe is going to be fought with nuclear weapons. That's why you have different precepts, different scriptures that mention the arrows being shot from one end of the earth to the other end of the earth. And it's not talking about no bow and arrow. It's not talking about no archer. Not talking about Robin Hood grabbing an arrow and lighting it on fire and shooting it. It's talking about those nukes. The scripture talk about the smith that blew up the coals. That's what it's talking about. It's not talking about nothing else. It's plain and simple if you research the words and then you line up what's going on in society today. Let me see, we got another precept real quick. It's the book of 2 Peter. I'm gonna just read on through this and I end this off because this hit the nail right on the head. Like I mentioned previously, you have people making jokes about this shit. They got Elmo and shit on here. Let me go back to it. I make people making jokes about it, thinking it's a joke. Now, you know, sometimes us Akian, we make videos and laugh and say certain shit, you know, with sense of humor type stuff or whatever, but this is really serious. It's not no game. This is to edify people and to possibly help seal the elect. So when this do take place, you don't get caught up in it. So this is a joke to a lot of people, man. They think it's funny, like, hey, got this right, I'm done being the expert in that. And you know what? I said this week I'm a foreign policy specialist. People really think this is a joke. But if they will read this right here and then think about what's really going on. In 2 Peter. Chapter 3 and verse 3. Now it says, knowing this first, there should come in the last days scoffers walking after their own lusts and saying, where's the promise of his coming? You know, people would be like, oh yeah, where your sky daddy at and all that other stuff. He gonna open up, he gonna crack them clouds. It says, for since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation. Of this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of Yahweh. The heavens were of old, the earth standing out of the water, and in the water whereby the world that then was being overflowed with water perished. Because back even in the time Noah was alive, he was letting them know it's gonna be a flood. And they looking at him like, there ain't gonna be no flood. It don't even rain. Not realizing that the Most High could switch stuff up and cause certain events to take place. And that's exactly what happened. And I was actually talking to somebody about that maybe like 3 days ago. They was thinking like, oh, we just get water on the ground like that early morning dew. That little mist that float over the ground and water the crops, the plants, and all that, and then that's it. Once they felt the raindrops, so they started bugging out. Verse 7 it says, but the heavens and the earth, which are now by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto what? Fire, against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. Now, go back to this real quick. This is hilarious right here, right? Let me check out my camera really clean up. I had my phone in my pocket earlier. They really looking at this like a joke. Not even realizing. Yeah, this one Jake right here that says, well, everything that has been done in Black America since before the founding of this country, I wouldn't care if we had a World War III. Which, hey, he's talking about the Black Americans and all that stuff. We not black and we not fucking American. Those are two different words that was created. Now it says, I wouldn't care if we had World War III. Humanity is its own downfall. But nah, the reality is Esau is his own downfall because Esau could have let us go back to our land, let us go return and keep the commandments and do what we're supposed to do. But nah, they didn't want to. They kept us and continue to do what they was doing. Then not only did they do that, they started dealing with these other nations and getting them drunk off the wine of this place, the doctrines, the philosophies, all that different stuff, allowing them to prosper off the work that our forefathers, our ancestors, so to speak, created, and continue to make money. So, hey, they got to pay for all that. And this is how they going to pay. And we were talking about in 2 Peter. I was just scrolling down just to show, like, primarily, like out of all of maybe like at least 14 different posts I seen on this was the only one that had a little bit of logic on it. And I know my camera a little blurry, so I can give me a minute to make sure I got this a little bit more cleared out. Now see, look, let me go back up to this because it's hilarious right here too, but it don't really make too much sense because they don't really understand what's really taking place. See if I can find it because let me just skip past it. Yeah, this guy right here said, war is the worst thing in the world. Everyone and everything will affect if a war pops up. Please can we live in peace? But see, Esau is the border of wickedness, so they're not really trying to live in peace. If that was the case, debt will be cleared, crops will be grown properly, taxes wouldn't be as high, these other little agendas, like shit like this, wouldn't be promoted. I wasn't even looking for that. That's just happened to pop up while I'm speaking on this. All this different stuff won't be promoted like that. If they really wanted peace, they wouldn't have military bases in everybody's country. They would be fortifying their own area, making it to the point of where it can't be invaded or attacked from the outside. And not spending all this money on weaponry, but on this infrastructure. If they really wanted peace. But they don't really want peace though. That's the spirit of Esau. Now, let me go back to this, where I was at. Back in verse 7 in 2 Peter chapter 3, it said, but the heavens and the earth, which are now by the same word are kept in store, reserved into fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men brotherly love. Be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. The Lord is not slack concerning his promise. And this is a promise, it's not no made up stuff. When you read them scriptures and you apply other little stuff, you have people, they might apply a few things, then they get blessed or rewarded. It was promised that if we do those things, you'll get that, right? So what more of this promise? Now it says, as some man counts slackness, but is long suffering to us, we're not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. So the Most High really looking out, he giving you time. He could have been pulled a plug on this place. Give you time to get yourself together, get your household in order, warn your family members, your friends, your people that you love, or whatever. Let them know what's coming, what's about to take place. Even people that's not your friends or family, let them know, because they are your neighbors. Let them know what's up. Give them time that they can repent and not perish. Now verse 10 it says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, because people don't think it's a joke and think it ain't really going down like that. It says, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons are you to be in all holy conversation and godliness, looking for and hastening to the coming day of Yahweh, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Nevertheless, we according to the promise look for new heavens, new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness, and that's what we want, man. All right, let me go to this and see. I just want to pull this up just for edification's sake, which I put up in a recent video. And talk about an elements melt with fervent heat, right? A nuclear explosion. Temperature of a nuclear explosion reached those in the interior of the sun. It says about 100 million Celsius and produce a brilliant fireball. And this is just an explosion. We're not talking about the aftermath of it. It says produce a brilliant fireball. The fireball shortly after detonation, 2 pulses of thermal radiation emerge from the fireball. Let's see what else. It says nuclear explosion is an explosion that occurs as a result of the rapid release of energy from a high-speed nuclear reaction. The thriving reaction may be nuclear fission or nuclear fusion, or a multi-stage cascading combination of the two, which Iran and Russia, if you've been paying attention, they've mastered this. That's why Esau Red Ass been trying to go over there and keep them from linking up and doing more of this. It says, though to date, all fusion-based weapons have used a fission device to initiate fusion, and a pure fusion weapon remains a hypothetical, I might be saying that wrong, so like a hypothetical device, which is not no hypothetical device. It's an actual device, because they have it now. I don't know exactly when this part right here was published. Let me click on it and see what date this was on Wikipedia. They don't give me no actual date. Okay, look, I'm gonna just read on down on this, then I end this video. And like I say, Slovakia that my camera a little blurry. I'm about to use one of my cloths and wipe it off. I was working earlier and grabbing my phone and stuff like that, so it's a little blurry. Now it says, let me read on down. It says atmospheric nuclear explosions are associated with mushroom clouds, although mushroom clouds, when you read the scripture better yet, let me get that real quick. I talk about that scroll. Book of Isaiah, chapter 34, and verse 4. And it says, God's judgment on the nations, and he ain't just talking about just Esau, because they're not the only ones. In verse 1 it says, Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people of the earth hear, and all that is therein the world, and all that come forth of it. For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fear is upon all their armies. He said, He hath utterly destroyed them, He hath delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up of their carcasses, and the mountain shall be melted with their blood. It says, And all the hosts of the heaven shall be dissolved, and the heaven shall be rolled together as a scroll. Let's go back to this scroll. Got different photos of this, some that actually fit a little bit better. But if you go type it in, it'll come up. I'll just take my word for it. It says, And heaven shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all the hosts shall fall down, and a leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a fallen fig from the fig tree. It says, For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. If you look into the sword, it's not just talking about an actual little sword, because the Most High used Esau as a sword. Then he used Esau to create weaponry so that can be Esau's sword and do what he do around the earth. And simultaneously, the other sword that they created was these nukes, these arrows. So that's why it says, For my sword shall be bathed in heaven, because once that nuke go up, it goes up to the heavens, and it come down, like the scripture says. It says, Behold, it shall come down upon Adumia. So ain't no sword, ain't nobody just throwing no sword up in heaven and it's just coming down. That's not what it's talking about. It's just parabolic. It's talking about actual missile going up in the air, because it's made from the same materials as a literal sword. You get a smith to hit those metals together, crush it down, get it to a fine point, as well as you get another smith that beat those metals together and put those different atoms together to create this. Now it says, Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment. Now, you want to read more into this? Isaiah chapter 34, on down. It goes into it even more. And like I said, I want to cut this video kind of short. I just want to touch on some main points. Anyway, it says, back on Wikipedia, it says, It is possible to have an airburst nuclear explosion without those clouds. Which is not just going to be that, but it is possible for that. It says nuclear explosions produce radiation and radioactive debris that is harmful to humans and can cause moderate to severe skin burns, eye damage, radiation sickness, radiation-induced cancer, and possible death depending on how far from the blast radius a person is. Nuclear explosions can also have detrimental effects on the climate, lasting from months to years. In the 1983 article, Carl Sagan claimed that a small-scale nuclear war could release enough particles in the atmosphere to cause the planet to cool and cause crops, animals, and agriculture to disappear across the globe, in effect named nuclear winter. So we got this preset right here. Let's go to this. Book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 13. Keep in mind what I just read on that, when it says, to release no particles into the atmosphere to cause the planet to cool, cause crops, animals, and agriculture to disappear. Once that goes, what else follows right behind it, right? Now, it says in verse, verse 13, book of Jeremiah, chapter 50. It says, because of the wrath of the Lord, it should not be inhabited. Why won't it be inhabited? Because this right here. Once that go off, can't nothing inhabit that place. Now it says, but it should be wholly desolate. Everyone that go off by Babylon should be astonished and hiss at all the places. Because every place on this earth not going to get hit. But majority of this earth going to be affected. When it mentions the earth should reel to and fro like a drunkard, a lot of stuff going to change. A lot of landscapes going to change. A lot of bodies of water going to move from one area to another. A lot of land is visible, not going to be visible. A lot of land that's not visible is going to be visible. A lot of different stuff going to be going on. All because of this third woe. But primarily to this third woe. Something else going to take place, which I mentioned in another video. I just want to bring this out since I seen this when I hopped online. I was like, okay, let me sit down and touch on a few precepts and go in on some topics and bring out something that's edifying. So, I don't want righteous out, this is edifying. Call all y'all about Shalom Shah, Shalom to the left. Stay alert to what's really going on. I know it's easy to get caught up in all the other stuff in your everyday life, but your everyday life could change at any moment. Like the scriptures say, the Lord should come as a thief in the night. When you live in your everyday life, I should say, and that thief coming at night, it should change up. So stay alert. Shalom.